I mean, we just, we're not supposed to hang out. Well, it's just, yeah, all right.
Yeah, that's what it is. We'll see here.
Brendan will be here in a second, he's in the office.
What, do you know when the public comment time's gonna be? On the agenda, it's not on the agenda.
I have an answer for you when we get back.
Okay, thanks.
Thank you so much for being silent.
So that's your phone?
Yeah, look it up. Delaware Place.
Right, that's right. It just works out. It just works out. Besides that, he gets to rest. He's going to be on a not the people on a cruise. No, but you have to work. That's right. He's going to go on a cruise. He's going to cruise. He's going to cruise around. He's going to be with an assistant. And he's going to take a cruise without an assistant. And he's going to see which way he does better. Is that true? I've been that cruise without an assistant. Maybe you'll step on your toe. Uh-oh, here he is.
Good morning, everybody. Let's see how am I gonna get.
State attorney, state attorney.
Good morning.
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 Madam Clerk.
How are you?
Hey, there's some hearings that they have conflicted. And Garrett Wolf is representing some of the parties. And so I can't do it.
ask for the public comments at the beginning.
Okay.
Okay.
Almost done.
Are we on yet? Good morning.
Good morning.
We're going to hear 10 cases today, is our intent. We will call this meeting to order in a few minutes. We're going to begin with our public comments. We have, the cases today are over East St. Louis 189 School Board filings and over East St. Louis Park District filings. We'll take public comment at the beginning. They will not be part of the record, and they will not weigh in the decisions on any of the cases. All the cases will be covered with the court recorder here today, and when your cases come up, we'll, after we do roll call and get everyone sworn in here, we'll take them case by case in the order that's on the agenda. All right, with that, I'd like to ask, are there any public comments for this St. Clair County Election Board hearing?
I just have one quick note. I noticed on the agenda,
I'm sorry. Do you want this on the record, sir?
No.
No, okay.
No.
I noticed on the agenda that was posted downstairs, the schedule, but I didn't see anything where you're adopting the rules for how the procedures are going to take place. And if you are going to adopt rules today, is your intention to go through with hearings when people haven't even had a chance to review the rules that were adopted?
The rules were all mailed to every individual, and it is on the agenda. Item number 3 is rules of procedure adopted. Record of vote. That's number 3 on the on our list of the agenda.
Yeah, I saw that. I was just wondering if you're going to adopt them here. But you did say you did send them to everybody, correct?
They were sent to everyone, and they were part of the posting.
Perfect, thank you. That was my only inquiry. Appreciate it.
Thank you. Okay. Any other comments? Okay. With that, I'm going to call the meeting to order, and we'll begin with the roll call.
This will be on the record.
We're ready for the record now. Okay. Circuit Clerk Kahala Clay.
Present.
State's Attorney Brendan Kelly.
Present.
Tom Holbrook, St. Clair County Clerk, Chairman, present. There's a quorum. We're going to start today by, I'm going to ask everyone that plans to or is involved in a case here today where you may be a witness to stand, and I'm going to do an oath to swear you in so that you're under sworn testimony. So with that, we'll begin that with the first issue. Rise if you think you're going to be testifying or if you're going to be a witness today. All right. Again, anyone coming before us that hasn't done this will have to tell us you haven't done this before we take any of your testimony today. All right. I, and state your name, do solemnly tell the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth, so help me God. You may be seated. You're now sworn witnesses, and your testimony will be under oath. All right, on the rules of procedure,
and adopting our rules. Is there a motion to adopt?
Someone,
Is there a second?
Second.
All right, Mr. Kelly made the motion, Ms. Clay seconded. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Aye. Record will show it was unanimous. All right. All the preliminary matters. we're just sworn in. All right, let's start with case, according, right off the agenda, Gossett versus Pulley. If you come on up here, we're going to have to make sure the court reporter can hear you. You can take a couple chairs right up front.
Keep coming. Just go up.
Just come all the way up, come right up here in front, right here in the middle. That way our court recorder can hear everything and get it recorded. I tell you what, if you can go over a couple more chairs, because she's the one that's listening at the very end there, if you be closer to her. I may have to lean in here, but.
yep, she's the objector.
And Ms. Gossett, you will start, whenever you're ready, start and review your objection in this case and address the board.
All right. First of all, I would like to reassert that I am on the record. Let's see. Okay, if there's any of my witnesses I need in here and they're not here, how can I get them subpoenaed?
Well, that's a process that you have to take care of. Ma'am, if you would just go through what your objections are, maybe that will.
All right, first of all, I would like to request that if anyone's in here testifying in any of my cases, be removed so that they don't influence the answers of the rest of the witnesses that I'll be questioning today, because I got a pretty big objection. The notaries, Miss Tidwell, if she's here, Jacqueline Rafford Smith, and Solomon Butler.
Have you subpoenaed any of these witnesses or requested subpoenas for any of these
Well,
witnesses?
they're in my objections,
Okay.
and we had got counseled, I got served on Saturday, but it was post-dated for the 31st. When we came in here the other day, we didn't get a chance to talk, say anything, and they redid everything. And I need these people here to verify certain claims in my objection that are vital.
That is on you as the objector to do that. So do you want to go through your objections? Do you have any evidence to present at all?
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah, bear with me for a moment. I'm going to do I have to state my name again and everything? Okay. The objector hereby makes the following objections to the proportion nomination papers of Lavonda M. Pulley as a candidate for the office of school board member for District 189 in East St. Louis. To be voted on at the April 2nd, 2019 consolidated election.
Ma'am, if you're just gonna, I mean, we all have copies of this. Do you-
Okay, so I can just go on to my questions then? I have questions.
Well, this is your time to present the information you have supporting your objections.
Okay. But still, I have people in here, I don't want to hear this. How do I proceed? Like I said, I'm new to this, and there's people in here, I do not want to hear my testimony.
Well, it's an open hearing, this is an open meeting. This is a process which is subject to the Open Meetings Act.
Can I consult my counsel?
Do you have an attorney?
Yes, she's back there.
Do you have an attorney
Yes, sir.
that's here to help you with your objection?
Tell it like it is.
All right. Okay, Mr. Pulley, can you state your name for the court, for the record? I'm trying to learn how to.
Are you wanting to question?
Yeah, I'm working my way down to the questions.
Okay.
Bear with me.
Lavondo M. Pulley,
Your address?
1416 Baker Avenue, East St. Louis, Illinois, 62201.
And the position that you were running for?
School board member of District 189, East St. Louis.
Did you file your nominating petition and have a copy of it ready to go to each of your circulators, and whose name's on it and who notarized them? The circulators.
Okay,
on your
give me the
petition.
first, I circulated every last one of my petitions.
Okay.
Mr. Pulley, I'm going to interrupt for a moment. You did stand to be sworn in, did you not?
Yes, sir.
Okay, just want to be sure.
Okay, when did you get your statement of candidacy notarized, sir?
I guess it was the 17th there.
You guess, or do you know it was on the 17th, sir?
I know it was the 17th.
Okay.
That was the day I turned my petition.
Who notarized your statement of candidacy?
It's on my statement of candidacy.
Can you say their name, please?
Catrice Y. Mosley.
We're trying to listen to them up there.
Who notarized your petition circulator
Shut the
statement?
hell up so we can hear it.
I'm sorry? This guy just cursed. me.
Chairman, we're trying to listen and they're obstructing our listening ability.
I was just talking to my clients. I had no idea what he's talking
There's a
about.
hallway out there.
Wow. You guys can-
All parties that have, if they want to make any, have any discussion, please go and take your discussions out into the hallway then.
Make sure you apologize to this guy for my talking. Say we're sorry. Where you at? Right out here.
Sorry for the interruption. Go ahead, Ms. Costa.
Okay, I think I was on 4. Who notarized your petition circulator statement?
I answered that.
Okay. what date for each of the 4 questions was. Can you describe to me the process for how you got them notarized? Did you fill out an affidavit?
Did I fill out an affidavit?
Yes, sir.
An affidavit for what?
Your statement of candidacy.
I'm not understanding what you're saying.
Did you fill out a statement of candidacy, sir?
I filled out a statement of candidacy, yes, I did.
It's right here. Okay. Did the notary do anything other than sign their name?
What is your question?
Did the notary do anything besides sign their name? It's self-explanatory.
The notary did what she was supposed to do.
And what
which
was that, sir? Can you
the
tell me
pro-
the process, please?
Ma'am, it's not my job to explain to you the
Yes,
process
you
of a
have
notary.
to. Yes,
It's not my
answer
job.
these
You,
questions.
if you want to know the process of a notary, go ask a notary or apply to the
No, sir, I need you
My
to
notary-
tell me
my
how
notary
you know.
signed-
One at a time, please.
My notary, she asked me a question, I'm just answering, I'm sorry.
But you can't talk over each other because we have to have it for the record. So we're going to be polite
Yes, ma'am.
and we're
And I
going to
agree.
make sure we get
The,
it on the record.
the portion that was, at the bottom remaining for the notary to fill out, I signed the part that I was supposed to sign in front of the notary, and the notary filled out the rest.
Okay,
I turned it in.
and I asked you, sir, again, how did you do this? Tell me the process for which you and her went to her putting her notary on this sheet. There's a process. Am I saying it right?
I think you've asked a question, he's giving you an answer.
Okay. Did you sign an affidavit in front of the notary?
Yes, I did.
Did the notary do anything else to help you as far as confirming their notary as far as you being sworn in on this candidacy statement, sir?
I think I've asked the question. It's the same question. Again, my notary filled out the portion that is reserved for the notary. That's it.
Okay. Let me be a little bit more blunt here. On December 17th, the day that for which he's speaking of, that he went and turned in this packet, I went to the donut shop on 71st and State.
Can I ask you, ma'am, do you have any more questions for the witness?
Yes, this is a question.
Okay, sorry,
You bear with me.
please proceed.
All right, I went in there, bought a juice, and on my way out, I saw some gentlemen in the back, and they were circulating petitions. Okay, as a candidate myself running for government, I know there is a letterheading that has to be filled out at the top of them. I saw Mr. Lavando Pulley. It was him on just the coffee shop. It was him, former Park Police Chief Strode, and Slim Gentleman, Strode and the Slim Gentleman were playing chess, and Mr. Pulley was getting signatures without letterhead on them. Take a look at that, sir. Now, before you answer, if I have to appeal this, I'm gonna call my witness that was sitting there. This is not your papers? These are not yours?
I can't make that out, ma'am.
Okay.
I can't, and I'm being honest.
I'm sorry, what, ma'am?
I'm trying to get my words together, sir. Bear with me.
Do you wish to show the?
Yes, I
what
do
you're-
want to show them to you all.
What are you, can you for the
This-
record explain what you're having?
Okay, what you're looking at, like I said, December 17th, I went into the coffee shop on 71st and State Street, where I saw Mr. Lavando Pulley, and and some gentlemen sitting on the Belleville side of it, which would be this side of the building. There were, I think it's Marvin Stroll and a slim gentleman were playing chess. I can remember him because he's bow-legged. He was sitting right by the door doing his petitions. And I took a picture after I bought my juice came out because I couldn't believe it. I said, hold on. Don't those supposed to be filled out the heading and the bottom part? Isn't that called detention or something like that, to fill it out in its entirety before you circulate it? And he did not. Now, I do have a witness that I can get subpoena to testify to that, because their name probably was on that paper too. And if I look at the petition right, the other guy would be right under Mr. Straub's name, and to verify my claim, the address that I bet you Mr. Straub put on there is not his. Let me find the page.
And can you articulate for us which particular objection in your petition that you're talking about? Like which, obviously you have one
Well,
letter, which?
I was saying two. I have two. Like I said, it was the notary, and it's the,
What are you saying about the notary?
he forced, he duly swore in present tense. And, give me 1 second. Let me find this. Right here. Page 5 of his circular.
Of his petition?
Yes, sir. Right there, Marvin Stroll will be number 7, blank on the side, 1419 Cleveland, when I know he stays in Washington Park. And he's the witness I want to call to verify that those pictures were exactly that way when he was getting signatures in the coffee shop. Mr. Labando Pulley.
This is your opportunity to have him here. This is it. Have you done any?
You mean this is it? I mean, I didn't even get a probate period or what you call pre-trial to know the rules of engagement. All I got was shoved papers in a small period of time. Now, I'm learning how to object. I got my evidence here. I need you all to bear with me as I present it. Like I said, he did not state how he got sworn in. My point on that one is he did not acknowledge the fact that he raised this in. Something I had to do before I got anything notarized. You understand what I'm saying? He did not acknowledge that. I asked him several times, several different ways. Did she did anything other than notarize your papers to help you get your paperwork confirmed? And he stuck to the answer he said. All she did was stamp, and he didn't even acknowledge if she showed his ID to her. And I would like for that to be admitted in evidence, because if I have to,
Can
I have to.
we have one of these,
You
or
can
are these
have
copies?
both of them.
Are these copies of the same?
Yes, what it is one is a bigger version for you to see the small, and then that one is to show you top and bottom, sir.
So, ma'am, we can't do it for you. We're trying to be
I know,
patient with you here and
okay,
be fair.
okay, let's see.
But we do have a certain amount of time, and we have
Exactly,
the people that have objections.
but my point being taken with him is he didn't acknowledge the fact that he showed ID or he raised his hand to be sworn in by the notary. Also, the fact that, I witnessed him at the coffee shop with the picture, circulating his, petitions without heading. And that'll be all for this one.
Do you have any other argument to make regarding your other objections that you have in here, or any other thing to present? You've made numerous objections.
Okay, candidate invalidly sought to be elected by circumventing the requirement that the header must be filled in prior to registered voters affixing their names to the nominating petitions in the violation of the election code. If I'm not
And these are,
mistaken,
and ma'am, is this the evidence you're presenting supporting that?
hold on. Yes, as a courtesy, this is the, copies on the case on a notary signing and, if it's not affirmed on them, you get what I'm saying? No, huh? Give me a second. Just 1 second, please. Papers bore 59 signatures, which the evidence circulated and filed candidate has not substantially compiled the election code requirement for circulating nominating papers in violation of the election code that I want entered into Exhibit B because he knowingly contributed in permissible voter conclusion by circulating nominating petitions whose headers were blank in violation of the election code. Wherefore, the objector Turlin Gossett requested a hearing on objections set forth herein and ruling that the nominating papers are insufficient in law and fact, and the ruling that the name Lavando M. Pulley shall not appear and not be printed for election for the office of school board member, District 189, St. Louis, Illinois, to be voted on at April 2nd, 2019's consolidated election.
Are you just reading your objection, ma'am? Is that what you're
Yes.
doing? Okay. Do you have any other evidence to present? Okay, thank you, ma'am. Sir, do you have any response to the objector?
Yes, sir. I do believe I've seen Ms. Gossett, I believe, at the donut shop a few times. I didn't ask her to sign my petitions. I don't know whose petitions those are. So, I mean, the question on hand, what she's talking about, I was in there circulating. I mean, I'm in there, you know, on the daily after I get off work to play chess. So, I mean, I couldn't pinpoint the day or what happened that day, but I don't know whose petitions those are.
Anything about the notarization?
The notary did her part as the notary, where you swear or affirm. She write in her little book your ID number, blah blah blah, the date. She stamps, sign. I mean, the typical. Before I turn my petitions in on any other election that or position that I've ran for, that's the last thing I do is get my notary to go through everything.
So you did the process of being sworn or affirmed?
Yes, sir.
Anything else, ma'am?
Yes, as a courtesy, I do think I want to enter this in as municipal evidence. Is a case, Weiser versus Brandon. to review on what I was explaining about Mr. Pulley.
Thank you, ma'am. You have anything else?
No, that's all I want to help right now.
Thank you, ma'am. You have anything else, sir?
No, sir.
Any questions? Let me take it up. Ma'am, I know this is it's a difficult and weird process, and I know you're not, I think you're not represented by counsel today, are you?
No, I thought I was.
Okay. And we can't quite do it for you, but from what I can gather, we heard you go through your objections, and it appears that the thrust of it is you're questioning whether he was sworn or affirmed as in the process of notarization. He's just testified to the effect that he was. And there's some other questions you've raised with regards to whether or not the headers were filled out, and something that you observed, and you presented photos to the
Yes, but I'm saying about
let me
this
finish.
one.
Let me finish. You presented photos to the board that I think you will agree we don't know what it is we're looking at here. It's impossible to decipher what these photos are, who these photos are of, or where, or when, or I think it's hard to, I'm not doubting what you are saying or raising any doubts about what you observed, but we have to make decisions based upon some type of objective evidence. And so I don't know, I know that you have not yet so far, and during this hearing have been able to present evidence that is such that I would vote to remove the respondent from the ballot. So I'd make a motion to deny the objection.
Is there a second?
Second.
Roll call. Ms. Clay?
Deny.
Aye. Aye on the motion.
Aye.
Mr. Kelly?
Aye.
Chair votes aye also. You realize that if you disagree with our decision, you have a right to appeal. You can go to the courts, and thank you for your time.
And what the chair means by that, ma'am, is you do have the right to appeal our decision. If you don't agree with our decision, you can certainly take it up with the circuit court. And you have the right to do that. And that's what the record is made for, so you have a record so you can proceed.
Next case is Gossett versus Clark.
Ma'am, are these relevant to any of the other proceedings? Do you want these back for other cases?
I already have a copy of.
Okay, okay, all right. So if the court reporter would just for the record, the photos you gave us, ma'am, we're gonna put them into the clerk custody with the file that.
As evidence?
Yes, and in the event that you make an appeal, it's in the record for you. So that's worth that.
the next case also, Gossett versus Clark.
Yeah,
Would you like to begin?
okay.
Let the record show, is Mr. Clark represented by counsel today?
That's correct. Mr. Holworth, Tom Keith Jr. and Tom Keith III.
Thank you.
R.C. Clark, as a candidate for the office of school board member for District 189, East St. Louis, to be voted in on April 2nd, 2019, consolidated election. I object, stating that the nomination papers filed by the candidate R.C. Clark on December 10th are insufficient in law and in fact for the following reasons. A, the nomination papers contain the signatures in excess of 140 such voters, and further, to have been gathered, presented, and executed in a manner provided by the Illinois Election Code. B, 10,
Ma'am, can I just, if we have you read every single one of your written objections, then we'll probably be here for a couple weeks, and
okay, so how am I supposed to get to my sheets?
Present.
I have to get the sheets.
just go ahead and present your evidence, present whatever information you have to the board about those things which you have already submitted in writing. So we already have everything you've submitted in writing. Everybody's been given a copy of that. I want you to have to read every single line. If you just go to what information you have to present in support of those individual objections that you've made.
Okay. Did you file this nominating petition, have, who notarized your, this petition?
Ma'am, are you asking questions?
Yes.
Who are you asking questions to?
I'm trying to ask questions to R.C. Clark.
He's not here.
So how am I supposed to get answers to the questions?
I don't know. If he's not here, you won't be able to get information from someone who's not present, and he's not required to be present.
Okay. Well, my problem with Mr. Clark's petition is his statement of candidacy, who notarized it, another one of those false swearing. Okay, in order for a candidate to be elected to office, they're required to file a duly authenticated candidacy statement. I have several questions about all of his sheets almost. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 10, 11, 12, 13, and 14.
Do you have evidence to present about those sheets? Anything for us to consider?
Like I said, his petitions from 1 to 14 were not properly notarized by Ms. Radford Smith Jacqueline. His statement of candidacy on 12, 16, 14 pages were submitted in his petition in violation of section 510-4 of the election code, 10 Illinois CS 5-45/10-4.
Tim, do you have any evidence for us to consider, any information, or you're making assertions about those individual objections that you filed, but do you have anything to present to us to?
Yes, the courtesy packet I gave you about the false swearing, and it has to be done in present tense.
I understand that. But do you have any testimony, any physical evidence, anything?
Not with Mr. Clark at this time, sir. Just like I said about the false swearing on.
But you're not presenting anything to substantiate the false swearing?
Well, like I said in the beginning of the case, sir, I asked for certain notaries to be sent out the room that was in here. They can hear everything. There is nothing private about this. I just can't see how they're gonna be held accountable for what they're doing if they can hear everything that I'm presenting. And I'm doing them too, as far as objecting on their petitions too. They're still in here. And I feel like I'm at a disadvantage.
Mr. Clark, petitions you're objecting to were the ones of December 10th, according to your appeal?
Yes, sir.
That was withdrawn, so it doesn't exist.
Okay, and then, hold on.
I just wanted to point that out.
Yes, sir.
So, I mean, really, you're objecting to something that doesn't exist.
So you said it was replaced with another whole setup of paper, whole nother petition.
I believe you refiled. Did he refile on this? Yes, he did refile.
On the 17th. Okay, well, I can appeal this one too, right?
Does the council further respond and have anything for the record?
For the record, very briefly, yes, Mr. Holbrook said that petition was withdrawn. She's existing as something that doesn't exist. I don't think we have to go any further than that.
Well, other than in an effort to try and expedite either this or future, she hasn't subpoenaed any of the notaries. That's her burden. If there had been a subpoena, you would know it would be a matter of record because the subpoena would have to be issued by this board and a return would have to be given by this board. So I understand that everyone is entitled to a full and fair hearing, but to the extent that she had lodged objections to various petitions based upon the insufficiency of the notary, she can't meet her burden. None of the notaries are here. In addition to that, I've also stated for the record that she has not subpoenaed any of the candidates to whom she has made objections. So I will tell you none of them are here. And I will suggest for the record that those are fatal flaws not only to this objection but to all of the objections, although I understand each will have to be considered in order. But I would suggest that in the effort to expedite this, we would ask the board to accept those arguments by reference, right, Tom?
We would, in addition to that, just to finish off the thought, there's an expectation and requirement since the objector has the burden that they state their objection with specificity, with particularity. Not only do we not have those things, but each one of these objections belong, these so-called notary objections, to, in addition to R.C. Clark, Betty Jones Clark, James Montgomery, and Irma Galladay, the boilerplate. They're all in some substance identical, be
one of the members of the audience had asked about the rules of procedure adopted by the St. Clair County Board, and rule number 4 says preliminary motions will be heard first. If we would suggest is that that we would like to adopt each one of the arguments we have just made as a preliminary motion to the remainder of all of our objections, because a preliminary motion pursuant to subparagraph 4 provides that such a motion is dispositive. And I would suggest that based upon the record, the points that we've made with respect to Mr. Clark's objections may very well be the subject of preliminary motions, but that's obviously in the discretion of the board. But I did want to point that out, that that is in the rules which have been adopted.
You have any response, ma'am?
Yes, I have evidence in all my other cases. I think I should be awarded the opportunity to present whatever case, whether you feel it's merited or not, so that you all can get an objective, informed, look at what I'm presenting, and you all judge the validity of it. So I would like to proceed.
You have anything else on this particular case, ma'am?
What I would like to ask is, can this be appealed to?
All of them can, yes, ma'am. Every
Yes,
single one.
I'm done with them
Motion, Mr. Kelly? There's a motion to deny the objection.
Second.
Okay, on that motion to deny, Mrs. Clay,
Aye.
Mr. Kelly,
Aye.
and the chair votes aye. Again, you have a right to appeal this decision. It has been denied. We'll be taking your next case here in just a moment. We're working on these. Next case will be Gossett versus Carr. Excuse me, Jones Carr. Continue. Scott? Knowing that you're objecting to a petition that's been withdrawn, I'm just making that case here
to the last one, I see.
to this one,
Clark,
to
sir.
this one also.
To this one?
This one, these petitions were withdrawn, were they not? Yes.
When were they withdrawn,
On the,
Do you have the withdrawal ones? I believe on the 17th.
on the 17th. And then there was another one refiled. So you're appealing, or you're objecting to a petition that doesn't exist.
so she resubmitted this one on the 15th.
17th.
17th.
Cameron, can you identify for the court reporter who you are?
I am Laura Kammer, election supervisor for the county clerk's office.
Thank you. Ms. Gossett, do you have anything else then on this?
Yeah, according to my paperwork, I got a paperwork she did on the 15th. Isn't this the date on it? Right here?
The page are you looking at now? Sorry.
Her loyalty oath. Her candidacy statement went in on the 17th.
Do you need me to go get the withdrawal?
Yeah. Ma'am, would it be helpful to you to see the ones that have already been withdrawn?
Yes.
To make sure those are the ones
Yes.
you're objecting to? We do have other cases that
Yes,
can be,
sir.
that can be
Yes,
heard in the interim. Does the counsel for the, are you here, sir, representing Betty Jones Carr?
And
And Laura, do you have any response to what was just said before we?
yes,
Allow
I
it.
do. I think it's a matter of public notice. I think this board can take public notice of the fact that they were withdrawn. I think the board can take public notice that new petitions were filed. We know they were filed. Mr. Holbrook was here when they were filed. But if, in the interest of fairness and completeness of the record, the board determines that they want to show that to the objector, then that's certainly fine with me. However, I'd also point out that I'm not exactly sure what she's objecting to as to the ones that were even withdrawn. I mean, the rule provides that you have to make some objection to what was deficient with the ones that were withdrawn. I'm not aware of what her objections are. If they are, as they have been, other objections with respect to the adequacy of the notary, she doesn't have any evidence to prove it because the notaries have not been subpoenaed and they're not here to testify, and that remains her burden. And if she has any other objections, then she has no witnesses that I'm aware of to call for testimony. So that's my comment.
So a couple things. Ms. Gossett, I believe there's other objections you have. Let's see, 1, 2, 3, 4 more, I believe. And if any of those are objections to petitions which have been withdrawn, if we're able to show that to you, that those are ones you're objecting to which already been withdrawn, perhaps that would also impact the pace of the process here today. So it may be in everybody's best interest to give you that.
Yes,
Can I finish? Can I finish, please? Let me finish. We have to, only one at a time so she can have a clear record. So if we can get those, and that way you're able to see what it is you objected to, and perhaps if they've been withdrawn, that may be dispositive of how these particular objections are made. As to the issue of the motions that may apply across the board, when these things have been appealed, the courts have preferred a clear and distinct record for each one. I wish we could be more expeditious, but unfortunately we may have to take a little time. So can I make a motion that we adjourn on this particular case, allow them to get those petitions for you?
Yes.
And then we will take a recess on this one, then we will come back, we will go ahead and proceed to the other cases that are here.
Okay.
If that's okay. Okay, ma'am. Well, if you want to then step back there for now, and then we will proceed with the hearing the other cases while Ms. Kammerer is able to get that information for you.
You want that in the form of a motion or whatever? It's up to you.
I'll make that motion.
Second.
Let me get this, get it down here. All right, there's a motion to recess on this, to the call of the board on this case. The call of the board.
I second.
Clay, on the motion to recess the call of the board on this case, all in favor say aye. Opposed? It's unanimous. Okay. 11:02. Okay. down on the agenda past the next two cases and go to Jones Car versus Pulley will be the next case then.
We'll withdraw that.
It's withdrawn.
If we're here to suggest that we should have elections on the merits, then we think that it would be disingenuous for us to take a position to the contrary before this.
So the objection by Betty Jones Carr to Lavando and Pulley is withdrawn by the objector.
In the spirit of open election.
God bless America.
God bless them.
Okay.
Excuse me, I have a question for you guys. I didn't get the second set of objections with all of the objections on it. The one that I have was the first one with Ms. Gossett. That was the only one that I was aware of. Thank you for withdrawing it.
Yeah.
But are there any more objections against me?
I don't see, and you are Lavando Pulley?
Lavando Pulley, yes, sir.
No, sir.
No.
So I can leave.
Yes, sir.
Yes, sir.
Have none.
Good luck.
You guys have a good one. Happy New Year, everyone.
Happy New Year.
All right, the next case would be Smith versus Thomas. It's a park board case.
You're Mr. Thomas? Yeah. Okay. Okay.
Okay. Okay, in this case then, Mr. Smith, you're the objector? All right, who's representing Mr. Smith?
Is Damon Smith here?
Oh, you're not representing.
One representative Smith.
David Smith?
Oh, I
Yes, sir.
apologize.
Okay, thank you.
Tom Keefe.
As the objector, you begin.
Oh, no, we're waiving any of our objections. I thought this was one that was being called as to objections to Mr. Smith.
So this, well, let me see.
This is
This
David
is
Smith.
Smith objecting to Thomas.
So someone has objected to you, sir?
Yeah.
Okay.
We waive it. If that's us, we waive
Okay.
it. Any objections that are being made as it relates to our client. So in this instance.
So Damon Smith is objecting to,
That's right. And so-
to Roderick Thomas?
Exactly.
That one's
And
Smith.
Ron Smith I'm representing, and Mr. Smith is going to withdraw his objections again in the spirit of, the same spirit that led to a statement of that was America.
Thank you, sir.
All right,
Which one are you on?
You win.
6-1, Ron Smith. Okay. All right, now let's go back to Mrs. Gossett at this time.
You're on the ballot, sir.
Oh, thank you.
Congratulations.
Thank you.
Good job.
Haywood.
All right,
There we go.
David Smith.
we want to review these. This is the final withdrawals. And you can go over each case.
Let's see if we can.
Okay, do you want to? All right, okay. Want to do those? All right, we'll do that, we'll get back to them then.
No, yeah,
Hold on.
let's do Sherwin Haywood.
All right, let's go back to the next cases then.
We get to discuss it.
Next case we will take is Gossett versus Turner.
He's coming. He just went to get her.
No, let's
Sherwin
hold on.
Haywood versus Damon Smith.
All right, let's do, yes, that way we can take Ms. Gossett all at the same time with all her cases. Yeah, that works better. Haywood versus Smith.
Did you just do Smith versus Thomas?
Yes, it was dismissed.
objector withdrew.
The wetland objector withdrew. Sir, can I ask you, were you here this morning when they administered the oath?
No.
Okay. Be with Mr. Clerk. Raise your right hand. I, say your name.
I, Sherwin A. Wood.
Do solemnly tell the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth, so help me God? Sworn in. Everything you say now is under oath.
All right.
Since this is a little clearer objector petition, Mr. Chairman, if we want to hear any preliminary motions, that probably would be logical in this case.
All right. Other preliminary motions on this case?
The same preliminary motions as would be made as in any other case, which is that, as a preliminary matter, the nature of the objection, as I understand it, hold the heck with it. No, let's get over it. Let's just go to it.
Okay, thank
Make
you,
it
sir.
faster.
Sir, you want to go ahead with your
Yes,
objection?
I went down to the Board of Elections in St. Louis and obtained Dagmar Smith registration application. Now, as of, when he circulated his petition, he said he was a resident at 1513 Exchange Avenue. But through the records, well, let's see, from the Board of Elections, after he filed all his petition paperwork stating that he was a registered voter at this address here, he was not. He filed his papers on the 10th. He went back down to the Board of Elections, he filed his papers in Fayetteville, the Hope for 9/11. Then he went to filed his paper at the Park District at 8 o'clock. 9/11, he went to Holbrook office. And then, at that time, he went to the Board of Elections. And at that time, that's when he changed his voting ID and registration and everything over at 2:15 that day. Stating that at the time, he was a legal resident at 657 Alexandria Place. Well, on his applications, he used the address on Exchange Avenue.
On his statement of
So
candidacy,
the
he
statement of
used
candidacy, he used
Okay.
15,
petitions. Okay.
and on his petitions. But through the Board of Elections, his residence is, like I said, 567 Alexandria Place. Then he went back down at 2:15 that afternoon, after he filed all his paperwork, and changed it to that address there.
Okay. And so, what is your
My objection
argument
is
then?
all his applications are false. He was law told him everything, he stated this is where he resided and voted from, and it was not. Through the Board of Elections in East St. Louis. His residence and voting place was on Alexandria Place.
What date was it on Alexandria Place?
Up until he changed, he didn't change his address to 1513 Exchange Avenue until after he filed his paperwork. So all the way up until the 10th he was still registered at 1513 Alexandria Place. After he filed his paperwork, then he changed it over to this address here. So all this paperwork, the signatures and things are false.
Do you have any evidence as to,
But I got this from Board of Elections. I got
as
this
to his,
seal.
as to his voter registration?
Yeah,
That's right.
to the voter registration. And this is seal right here. They got the seal on it from, the original seal on it from Board of Elections.
Do you have any other information as to whether or not he was a qualified voter at that address, that exchange?
The only one I got is where he was registered to vote from over on that Alexandria Place.
Okay, so you had him registered, you have information showing he was registered at Alexandria.
Right. That's where he was registered from, until the day he filed his application. So up until that time, when he said he was registered before then, he was not.
You said he was registered to vote, correct?
On Alexandria Place. Not Exchange Avenue, where he filled out his candidacy papers from, saying that's where he was a registered voter and that's where he lived at.
You've also provided in your electronic registration, the registration application that you provided to us, there's an affidavit included here in that application that says that he has lived in his election precinct at least 30 days as of the date of the next election. Do you see that on your the record that you provided to us?
Yeah.
Okay. It's in small writing, so it's voter affidavit. It's Exhibit A that you've submitted to us. You have anything else, sir?
Yes, we make the following response. Mr. Smith, on December the 8th, Mr. Smith was shown as having resided at 567 Alexandria Place. On that date, that being December the 8th, he got a new driver's license.
Thank you, sir.
You're welcome. I have extra copies. You will see that as of December the 8th, he was residing, and his address is shown as being on Exchange Avenue. His driver's license clearly indicates that that was his residence at the time that he filed the petitions of which Mr. Haywood complained, because it was the next day, December the 9th, that his nominating papers were all signed, and on that date, that address of 1513 Exchange Avenue is in fact his address. Mr. Smith did not update his voter registration address with the East St. Louis Board of Elections until December the 10th. The issue of is, where did he live on December the 9th when these petitions were filed with the circuit, or with the county clerk's office? And a point of fact, he, as evidenced by his driver's license, he intended to reside at 1513 Exchange Avenue. Now, what happened is that on the 10th, as Mr. Haywood has pointed out, is that Mr. Smith did make an application for registration. However, it's important to note the following. Number one, first and foremost, is that residence is a question of intent. And clearly, Mr. Smith intended to be residing at the exchange address as evidenced by his driver's license. Number two is that if on the 10th he in fact made a different application, if you look at his statement of candidacy, which is in fact attached to the objection, the objector states that he is a quote qualified voter at that exchange address. He is in fact a qualified voter at that exchange address. The statement was signed on December the 9th. And on December the 9th, he was in fact qualified to vote there on that date. That's what's required by the statute. He simply had not registered until the following date. I will also point this out. The statute is clear that you do not have to be a registered voter to run for office. He doesn't have to be a registered voter at all. All he has to be is qualified. And he's qualified clearly with that address. The driver's license, it seems to me, should be fairly compelling evidence, particularly when obviously the intent of the board is to encourage free elections, but it should be fairly compelling evidence that it was and is and was at all times relevant Mr. Smith's intention to reside at the address reflected on his driver's license. And the fact that that was his address on the date that he signed that petition should be more than adequate to sustain his, or overrule the objections and sustain his right to pursue office. Thank you.
You have anything in response to that, sir? So, I think you're essentially asserting some sort of broad claim of fraud, and we have evidence of him residing at 1513 Exchange Avenue. But there is a difference between being qualified and being registered. There are millions of people in this country that are qualified to vote, but are not registered to vote. And the particular statement of candidacy, he's swearing or affirming that he is a qualified voter. Doesn't mean he has to be registered to vote. And that's something I learned many years ago myself. So it doesn't make a lot of sense, but it is what it is. So, and I thank you for participating in your democracy here, though. But I do make a motion to deny the objection.
Second.
Motion made and seconded to deny.
You all have a happy new year.
You too. Thank you, sir.
Be very conscious for everybody.
Flag?
Aye.
Mr. Kelly? Aye. The chair votes aye.
Should we also make a note for the record that we were handed copies of a driver's license of the respondent in the case, and that's going in the record should there be an appeal.
Got it right on top.
Just have Gossett left, right? Gossett.
Right.
Ms. Gossett, are you here?
Go through these. Check these off.
This one. I thought we already ruled on it, I believe, right?
So we'll go back to John's one.
Yeah, we're going to go back to Galladay. Gossett, Galladay. Carr. We did on Carr versus Pulley, but not
Carr versus
Gossett
Gossett
versus.
Jones Carr.
Your Herman, Callaway, C. Clark, Betty Clark.
Ma'am, this is from the, this is the official writing from the clerk's office. That's, I believe the next one, the one we were on that we recessed on was Gossett versus Galladay. To go back to the one we recessed on, Gossett versus Galladay.
It was Jones.
Was it?
Yes.
Did we rule on Galladay?
That was Gossett versus Carr.
Oh, I'm sorry, I apologize, excuse me. Betty Jones Carr, you're right. Gotta get to it. This is the next one, man, Betty Jones Carr.
Gallaudet is the next.
That's the one we recessed on. Yeah, we recessed on that. Because guys, the way I read your objection, you're objecting to a petition that was withdrawn. Ready to vote on it? Ready to vote on it?
Ma'am, can I ask which one you're looking at first?
I'm looking at mine, I don't have the same one. This one is mine, so that's what I'm objecting to. It just don't look like this.
Well, this is actually your objection.
No.
That's not the petition. That's your objection.
That got the 15, this one got the 7, and this one got the 9.
They're-
So
are they
this
different
one's
people?
Galladay.
One is Galladay and one
Can I
is
see
Jones.
Betty Jones Carr? Can I see that one right there? Thank you.
Oh, so, I didn't give up right.
We gave you both.
We gave you both.
Yeah.
My fault, I don't blame us.
We gave you both of the ones that have withdrawn.
Yeah,
and
this
refiled.
one over here is mine.
So it appears her objection says December 10th, but the petitions,
That's not what's attached.
but what she has attached is the petitions that were subsequently submitted after the December 10th was withdrawn, yes.
That's the set I got from the county, from the,
Which was right. You were given the ones that they filed under, not the one they withdrew. But your petition says the 10th.
for her, I just got disregard to, mandatory requirements in the election code on sheets 4 and 5.
Well, hold on a second, man, let's go back to, if we could, for the record, say we're back on the record, back in beginning the hearing at Gossett versus Jones Carr.
Yes.
And ma'am, do you want to just quickly proceed with your objection?
Yes, with, the notary Solomon Butler. trying to get, let's see. They, 4 and 5 were not properly notarized by Solomon Butler, 12/15/2018, statement of candidacy in violation of section 510-4 of the election code.
Ma'am, on any of your objections, do you have any
More evidence?
evidence to present?
Yes.
Okay.
Montgomery.
What?
And
Let's finish this case. that we're on.
Okay, I thought it was actually period.
Just in this case, ma'am,
No,
Gossett
just
versus
that,
Jones.
like I said, I'm fighting the notary on this.
Okay, you have any evidence to present with regards to the notary? Beyond what you have in your written objection?
Well, like I said, it was the Solomon Butler signature, and it was the way they filed their papers with the Democratic logo on it. And I see, like they said, they didn't change a lot of paperwork. So that's all I had on this card.
Is there anyone here representing Betty Jones Carr?
I am.
Sir, do you have any response for the respondent?
The same response I made before, but to keep the record clear, since one response will not be adopted, the other is that there's no evidence that she has presented. A statute requires that she subpoena and present the notary, I assume, because there's not been a subpoena issued by the board nor a return of service, that there is no evidence of the notary. I'd also add that, although it's more of a technical objection, is that she made an objection on the 10th to, and stated she was objecting to petitions on the 10th and then attached to 17th. I don't think that's terribly consistent, but once again, the intent of the election board is that people are entitled to run. The burden is upon the objector. The objector is making blanket objections to notary if she has offered absolutely no evidence to sustain those objections.
Anything else, ma'am?
Ma'am, I gave you all a pamphlet. It's talking about the notary laws.
The case law you previously gave us?
And yes,
So
how
would you like us to take notice of that?
yes,
in
with
this
this
as well?
case too, as well as all the rest of them,
Okay, thank you, ma'am. Will do.
please.
We've all given a copy of the case, and thank you.
Yes, I gave y'all a courtesy copy of it.
Is that somebody's phone?
Yeah, that's fine. I turned it off. I don't know why it's still coming on. Sorry about that. Let me cut it off one more time.
Sure.
Let me take the battery out.
Yeah,
Do it that way.
making my phone's off too.
Just like that. Okay, now.
Make a motion to deny the objection.
Second.
Okay, motion made and seconded. Roll call. Ms. Clay?
Aye.
Mr. Kelly?
Aye.
Chair votes aye. Now you have a right to appeal.
That's it.
Stay right there.
Yeah, no, probably the rest of them,
Give that back to
huh?
Laura, after you leave, try to keep our cases clean. The next case would be Gossett versus Galway. That one out here somewhere.
Same thing with this one as with Ms. Carr about Solomon Butler's signature on petitions 4 and 5 were improperly notarized. In the candidacy statement, submitting nominated petitions 2, 3, and 4 in violation. Pretty much the same thing with the notary. Can you apply that notary law that I gave you all to this one too?
Yes, ma'am. In this case, do you have any evidence or testimony to present? Any additional argument beyond your written objections you wish to make?
That's about it on her.
Okay, thank you. Is there anyone here representing Irma Galladay?
Tom Keefe.
Oh, absolutely. That's part of the official paper.
All right, that's the top paper mine. Thank you. Sir.
Any response to the objector?
So that each record is clear, I make the same responses I previously made. It is the objector's burden. She has failed to produce any evidence in support of her objections, and therefore I believe the objection should fail.
Anything else, ma'am, on this one?
No, sir.
Thank you. We will also take note of the case you previously gave.
Thank you.
I'll make a motion to deny the objection in this case.
Second?
Second.
Second being made, the motion is to deny the objection. Ms. Clay?
Aye.
Mr. Kelly?
Aye.
Chair votes aye. Next case, Gossett versus Ike Turner.
I don't think I got it. I would say, oh, page 14.
No problem. How you doing?
Good, sir. Were you here when they administered the oath?
Yes.
Okay, thank you.
Are you ready?
Go ahead.
Pretty much the only objection I got to Mr. Ike Turner is he did not turn in the economic statement. Hold on. Yeah, he did not turn in the economic statement.
Can we just go off the record for just a second?
Yes, sir.
There is still are you representing Damon Smith?
Well, there's another one.
There is an objection to.
Oh, okay, then I understand.
Do you have James Montgomery or Damon Smith?
I think I have David Smith.
Okay.
While this is going on, I'm going to use the facility.
Yes, sir. We can go back on the record, please. Sorry, ma'am.
Yes, as I was saying, he did not provide an economic statement, which is so very important to complete in the package. At least I never received one. He's, also that he wrote that he was running for police commissioner full term, but he did not designate a municipality. Whether it was East St. Louis, Alton, I don't know where he running for. You know what I'm saying? He did not list the city of designation that he was running for office. On top of all his petition.
Got the original
Ma'am, have you had a chance to look at the original in the case? And you were given a copy,
Yes.
I guess, and you
He
provided.
got park commission full term. It's supposed to be.
Can we go back, can we just go to the economic interest first?
Yes.
The first one you raised? Okay.
Yes.
Would you like to, it's attached here.
They never gave me one when I went in and picked up my,
He could have filed it after he filed, so you have to have so many days to do it. They get a filing time
Yeah,
of
but he did it on December 13th, it looks like.
December 13th was the date we have, yes, to be turned in.
I don't know when he put it with this.
I did not get it in my package. And I went to get 3 different packets at 3 different times, so. it was not-
Did you request these copies from the Park District?
Yeah, I requested from the park district and I came up to the county to get the school boards.
But on the Park District, there is a economic interest statement dated.
Exactly, and I
13th
know
with the
Lillian
packet.
Reeves.
And it's connected to
And
his
she knows
petition.
I asked for it, but she did, Lillian Reeves couldn't give it to me, sir.
I can't speak for the park district.
Okay, well, I got 3 different copies and I never
Can
received.
I ask you, ma'am, when did you request those copies?
Isaac Turner, I went for his the last day, right before 5 o'clock, I think, to pick up my copy of the dictionary of mine, at 2 o'clock, actually. This is one copy of that.
So for purposes of you doing your election objections, you requested a copy from the East St. Louis Park District?
Yes, from Lillian Reeves, that's her name, she's the lady that seals everything. She's the one I've been dealing with all the paperwork.
Statements of economic interest, correct me if I'm wrong, are filed with for local offices are filed with the clerk's office, correct?
We provide them the clerk, they take the receipt and file it with a governmental body that they're at, and it shows that he has done that in both cases, filed with us and took the receipt and filed it with his petition.
Ma'am, did you have a good chance to look at the official copy? Did they show it to you?
Yeah, I got my copies of the receipts from, their filing receipts. I went and got copies of them too,
You got that from the Park District, though?
from Lillian Reeves. That was the only place we can get them.
Okay. But do you have any question about the statement of economic interest, which is filed with the
Like I
clerk's office?
said, I see it now, it wasn't included in the packet. Sorry about that.
Just want you to have a chance to see the record.
Yes, sir.
Just a couple hours from now.
Thank
Ma'am, do you have anything further with regards to the, you raised some issues about addresses and something related to his
Yes.
petition?
Okay.
Ma'am, also just want to point out, if I could, ma'am, just in the objection that you filed,
Yes, sir.
you included the statement of economic interest. So looks like the East St. Louis Park District did provide that to you as well. In your own objection that you filed, you included the actual statement of economic.
On the last page,
It's the last page.
your very last page, it's the receipt. It's not the full statement, it's the receipt that they filed with the county on the paper you filed with us.
It's all right. A lot of paperwork.
Yes, a lot, really.
Do you have any other argument to make, ma'am?
That'd be all we have.
Any,
Oh,
sorry.
excuse me. Like I said, he didn't state the level of government from which he was running, the unit. I don't know if he was running for park commissioner, police chief, or director of services in the park. He did not explain he didn't state the position that he was running for.
So ma'am, I see on the statement of candidacy that you submitted in your objection, it says Park Commissioner, full term, East St. Louis Park District, He lists his address at the top of each nonpartisan petition. Appears on every page. He says, East St. Louis Park District, Park Commissioner, full term, states his address in Allerton.
On every page.
And the reason you can object, or how many people do object to that information, is it's always a concern if there's voter confusion. That's why these
That's
rules,
why I did
some of these rules seem ridiculous, but it's designed to be able to inform the voter and allow the election process to be reasonably managed, to put someone's name on the ballot for people to be able to vote. And the law is basically erred on the side of allowing people on the ballot as long as there's substantial compliance and that no one is confused. So if I was someone living in the East St. Louis Park District and someone came to these petitions with me, I think I would be able to read and say he's running for park commissioner and he's from Allerton and it's the East St. Louis Park District, so I'm not sure there'd be any confusion. So for that reason, I would vote to deny the objection in this case.
Made the motion, to second, Ms. Black?
Second.
Roll call, Ms. Black?
Aye.
Mr. Kelly?
Aye.
Chair votes aye. Again, you have the right to appeal this.
I believe in you.
The next case is Gossett versus Montgomery.
This one will be pretty quick. I think this is this.
How are you?
Oh, we're getting a notice of it today.
We
How you
certainly are.
doing? Well, this one pretty self-explanatory. I want to object this whole petition. Reason being, the notary.
We're in Gossett versus Montgomery.
Yes, sir. Let's start with this one. If you look at this issue of the monitor, right here in this section, his notary name is Deborah Hamilton Tidwell. Okay. Now, if I know anything about commissioning laws, if you commission to be a notary and you change your name, your notary ain't no good. She signed Mr. Montgomery's with Deborah Charmaine Tidwell. I got 3 different newspapers from November 29th. It's right here, sir, right here, just underlined. This is the 13th to the 19th. If you open, this is her, the second to the bottom. If you open it up, it clearly shows her name. Where is it? Deborah Hamilton Tidwell, right there, sir. I got another issue of the Monitor, December 20th to 26th. It's another picture of her and Montgomery and them together, so it's not like you don't know her. And if you look at the bottom again, Deborah Hamilton Tidwell. Now, I take kids to get toys and stuff, and on the 22nd Saturday, they was doing something at the senior township, East St. Louis Township Hall, Saturday, about noon, and I went past there, and I saw a banner. It also has Deborah Hamilton Tidwell on it, sir. Hold on. And I got some petitions from when she just ran for office. Recently, sir, she had signed Deborah, this is hers, Deborah Hamilton Tidwell. But on Montgomery's petitions, if you all open them, she signed Deborah Charmaine Tidwell. Now, let's see, what else? Let's see. Like I said, I got a bunch of them where Mrs. Carr signed on them, and Deborah Hamilton Tidwell, which was recently in the last month or so, as her name. So, Mr. Montgomery's petition should be null and void because who is Deborah Charmaine Tidwell? I got the petition 7/25/33 and 34 here showing where she signed Deborah Hamilton Tidwell, if you all want to see them. This just the past election for her, running for city clerk of East St. Louis. Ma'am. If I'm not mistaken, I think I got a voter's registration somewhere up in here too. Where is it? Look. Oh. Now I'm asking what that is. This is her statement of candidacy too from the last election that just passed in November. Which is her name? Because if she signed Mr. Montgomery's petitions as Charmaine Tidwell, that makes it, her notary says Deborah Hamilton Tidwell. Matter of fact, she has a, the sister gone. Okay, her sister gone. June Hamilton just left. She was back there. And you can't, it's self-explanatory. You got 3 newspaper articles from November 29th to the 26th, along with a picture in which I'm concerned because they was handing out toys to the children in the community, but they was also advertising and politicking for Robert Easton in there doing absentees during this time. All of them was in there. Every one on that picture. And I felt insulted. I felt demeaned as a human being, and that's why I voted to object to all of them. Because what they're doing is wrong. There's a blatant misguidance of trust with the people. And if you're going to be in a position of authority, you have a protocol to follow as well as I do. Petitioning and objecting. Also heard her joking about getting away with it in November. I'm speaking out on this. I'll figure out how to get a lawyer about the rest of them. But that one, I know I got her on. Her notary. And like I said, if you look at the petition, she got Charmaine Tidwell all through it, sir. Every page of James Montgomery's petition.
Do you have anything else on that, ma'am?
That's fine, sir.
So you're
I'm
objecting
trying to
to,
shorten it for you.
objecting to every, thank you. You're
Yes,
objecting to
everyone.
everything that she knows.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. Who is that woman? Isn't that the law, sir? Once you change your name after becoming commissioned a notary, you have to carry something for like 3 years or something else or get recommissioned. You cannot use your old commission name and use another name. That's against the law, isn't it?
it's a separate question from what we're talking about
Yeah.
today, but, do you have anything else?
Let's see. Wait 1 second, sir. Like I said, petition 7/25, 33, and 34. And if she commissioned her name, it would have to think afterwards, the new name. But the last election, she just used Hamilton Tidwell.
Does the attorney for the respondent want to see any of the exhibits?
Sure. Thank you. Thank you.
Top left-hand corner.
Sorry. Yes, ma'am.
Alright.
Thank you.
That one will be in the middle of the sheet, sir. Flip it over.
Oh, flip
That one, flip it. Flip, no, just flip it over.
Oh, like this.
Right there in the middle. See there? See it? Right there.
Well, this is the first time I've seen this. I have a number of responses, not at the risk of being redundant. The newspaper is hearsay, first and foremost. Secondly, if she wanted to bring somebody in to testify that the entry here in fact represented this person, she could do that. Most importantly, the date on this newspaper is November the 29th, which is when she apparently is shown with this other name. And then it looks like, in addition to that, she is shown as a candidate for city clerk as Deborah Hamilton Tidwell, and then also as a candidate for city clerk on that same date, December 22nd, as Deborah Hamilton Tidwell. I don't see where there's any evidence that on the day that she would have notarized these as Deborah Tremaine Tidwell, which was on December 9th, that wasn't her name. Number one. Number two, I would also point out that, again, the best proof of this and what the statute has always said, and what the case law has always said, is that you are supposed to subpoena the notary. And then if you subpoena the notary, then you can interrogate or ask the notary about these things. And once again, she hasn't. So, again, given the fact that the presumption is that people should be entitled to run, in the second place is that we're talking about a different middle name, assuming that that's the same person. I mean, she hasn't even proven that Deborah Tremaine Tidwell is the same person as Deborah Hamilton Tidwell. There's no proof of that. I mean, the way you prove that is you bring her in and you say, who are you, and do you have that name? The objector has the burden of proof. Now, I certainly will acknowledge that in this instance, there has been more evidence offered than in the past, because in the past there's been no evidence. But the dates on these, I don't think the newspapers are competent evidence. The photograph, which lists her name, is undated. I don't know when it was taken. And I don't know if she can establish that Deborah Hamilton Tidwell and Deborah Tremaine Tidwell are the same or different people. The easiest way to do it, the way that it's contemplated by the statute to do it, is to subpoena the notaries in and have them testify. And once again, there's no evidence that she may not have changed her name after the 9th.
Ma'am, any response?
With him saying beyond the 9th, let me go back to the paper again. Can you pass those
Yes,
to me?
ma'am.
Now, like I said again, if you look, he's showing a consistent pattern for the month of the end of November to the end of December. He said the 9th. This one is dated the 13th to the 19th of when they was having a Christmas function at the township in East St. Louis. They have them here, they're lined up, their names are clearly stated. She ran for city clerk. There's no doubting, there's no talking that down. Then again, like I said, I came again with the 20 to the 26th. The same picture with them and it smaller at a function that I went to. Where I took this picture Saturday, December 22nd at 1:18, waiting in line with some of my neighbors for toys. While they was getting absentees. I can't prove the absentee part, but this much, you can tag them. Christmas extravaganza. All of their names on the banner. Representing Robert Easton. That is undisputed. You talking a month, sir, you talking a month. And if you look at the bottom of the monitor, it clearly tell you corrections. If the East St. Louis Monitor publishes an error, we will correct it. She had 3 different weeks to correct that. She had 3 weeks, sir.
Ma'am, I don't know if you're addressing me, but all of the papers that you're citing post-date the date that this person signed these petitions. So you haven't really established, at least in my judgment, that she hadn't lawfully changed her middle name after the 9th. In addition to that...
Can you show me her commission for her being commissioned under Charmaine?
I don't know if they want us cross-talking, but it's not my burden. It's
So,
your
ma'am,
burden. All you had to do was subpoena her, and then you could show it.
So let me say that the burden, of course, is on the objector to present evidence. And you've obviously presented some information about someone named Deborah, is it Hamilton?
Tidwell.
Tidwell, a certain date and time. And then you have a Deborah Sherman Tidwell on a certain date and time. Whether or not those are the two the same people, could be, but I don't think we're going to resolve that here in this particular hearing. So I don't think you presented enough evidence here in this context to be able to establish that the notarization process that this person named Deborah Shermaine Tidwell, who has a valid notary public commission that expires March 28, 2019, at that time that we're not disputing whether or not James Montgomery raised his right hand and affirmed or swore what he was saying and what he was doing was correct. Now, I will say this, the information you presented here today, I will certainly be providing to the Illinois Secretary of State, who does the enforcement for the Illinois Notary Act. That's a separate concern. So I thank you for bringing that to our attention, and I will forward that to the Illinois Secretary of State that does the enforcement for whether or not someone is complying with the Notary Act. But do you have anything else with regards to your objection?
Didn't I give you all a copy of her voter's registration too? It should have been up there with the paperwork, the little packet I gave you all, with the petitions on it. It should have had a voter's registration on there, and it was just done. It was just done. It should have been with the paperwork.
Whose voter registration are we talking about, ma'am?
Deborah Hamilton Tidwell.
Can I ask you,
showing her name still.
what was the date that it was changed?
I think I got on 26 or 27.
And what did it
And it
say?
said Deborah Hamilton Tidwell.
That'd be December.
And
Would that be December?
Yes, ma'am.
well, then, again, just reconfirms you have time that's after the time of the notarization in which you changed your voter registration. So that's still consistent with the other information that you provided us, but not dispositive of whether or not the notary is valid at that time.
I thought I gave you a copy of the voter's registration and everything.
We'll take your word for it.
Okay, well.
Anything else on this case? Again, the burden's on the objector. There's been insufficient evidence presented here in this hearing to remove this person from the ballot. So a motion
A motion to deny the objection,
Second.
second by Mrs. Clay. On the roll call, Ms. Clay,
Aye.
Mr. Kelly. Chair votes aye.
So next one.
Next one. You have the next case also. It is Gossett versus Smith.
Is this the last one?
Last one.
You all didn't want the copies of this stuff?
Yes, ma'am, if we can keep that. If you intend to appeal, then we can
Yes,
take
I
that.
very much.
As we end that case, I will say, if you disagree with any of our decisions, you have the right to appeal. Would you like those included?
I ain't got the pictures on here.
Put that in that file. Here.
Okay, with Damon Smith, his is pretty simple. He wasn't duly registered at the 1513 exchange. He was registered at the 567 Alexander. He didn't change it until after he had already put in his candidacy statement. And then he turned around and did the economic statement afterward and had that dated afterwards, which makes his candidacy statement invalid.
Ma'am, is the entire basis of your objection the difference in address and the time he was registered to vote between 567 Alexander and 1513 Exchange Avenue? Is that the essence of this particular objection against Mr. Smith? And did you happen to be here for the previous hearing involving Mr. Smith?
No, sir. I mean, I walked out, but I really didn't hear anything, sir.
This seems to be the same.
They're identical.
They're
Like I
identical.
said, that's what it's about. He was 12-9, he was registered at 567 Alexander. And then he turned in his paperwork, then turned around and went and got his economic statement done on the 10th, the next day, in the morning, if I'm not mistaken. You can't do your candidacy statement and then go and do your economic statement. You know, it's not the procedure. He changed it on the 10th.
I would ask if there was the driver's license photocopy, if you'd like to file that in this case.
Oh, I didn't know if you had asked me for the response yet.
I think,
Oh, no, I'm sorry.
do you have anything else, ma'am? Just initially?
Just the electronic registration.
And this was previously submitted to us in another case, an objection against Mr. Smith. And I would just call your attention to this section 10, where there's it's a voter affidavit there. It talks about his residency. Is there any response from the respondents' counsel?
The same as before, but to keep the record clear, I only have one last copy of this.
I'll put it in my record.
We have other copies, Mr. Holbrook. But Mr. Smith, on December the 8th, was issued a driver's license, which to you, and, may I approach her?
Yes, please.
driver's license was issued on December the 8th, and at that time, his address was 1813 Exchange Avenue.
Okay, and I done got a driver's license recently, sir, and that was.
Can you just let him finish his argument, and then you can, what's your response?
I was just trying to give you the courtesy of showing you what I had. And so as I previously indicated on the previous argument that we had, is that on December the 8th, in fact, his address was 567 Alexander. On that date, he got a new driver's license with the address of 1513 Exchange Avenue. His nominating papers were all signed the next day, December the 9th, and they all list 1513 Exchange Avenue as his address. Residency is a question of intent. The best evidence in this case of his intent at the time that his papers were signed or his driver's license, that intent is reflected as the same address as the papers that he signed. He did not update his voter registration address until December the 10th. The address that he used is irrelevant. In his statement of candidacy, which was attached to the objection, the statement was made that he is a qualified voter at the Exchange address. In fact, he is a qualified voter at the Exchange address. There's no evidence to the contrary. That statement was signed on December 9th, and it was a true statement. He wasn't qualified to vote there on that day. He simply hadn't registered until the following day, and he doesn't even need to be a registered voter in order to seek office. For the same reasons that I had articulated in the previous objection made on the identical grounds, I restate them for the record in this case. Thank you.
Ma'am, did you get a chance to look at the driver's license?
Yes, sir, and like I said, I have got the new one, and they give you a paper receipt too. But Exhibit A clearly shows that this man went and processed his paperwork in the morning of the 9th of December 9th. He turned around a whole nother day at 2:16, stamped here. Then change that up. You cannot do that. If I do that, I will get thrown off a ballot. This is not the first time I ran for election.
And you need to address them. I'm not the judge. You have to persuade them.
I thought we was questioning each other.
That's all right. That's okay. It's a confusing process. So the paperwork you've submitted to us, I just want you to understand, so if you ever do this again or run for office again, you'll know, and these are things I've learned over the years. The statement of candidacy that he has turned in on the 9th says that he is a qualified voter. It doesn't say registered voter, just that he's qualified to vote. And I think as was previously stated, you don't even have to be registered to vote in order to run for office. You have to be a qualified voter. And unfortunately, there are millions of people in this country that are qualified voters but not registered to vote. So what he has said here is not inconsistent with the information that you presented and the information that's been presented with regards to his driver's license. And the own voter registration form, which you have submitted as part of your objection, in which he has a sworn affidavit that he talks about have lived in the state of Illinois in an election precinct at least 30 days, the date of the next election where he's registered. So that's why, and we'll take judicial notice of the driver's license that was submitted in the previous case as
I have an
An
extra copy
exhibit.
if you need one for this record. I've got it.
I think we're okay.
I got it.
I think we're okay. We had, yeah, and if that's in the file, and they're part of the record for this particular case, that's also evidence that was submitted by the respondent. But the essence of, I think, the entire basis for your objection in this case involves that. So for that reason, I would make a motion to deny this objection as well.
Is there a second?
Second.
And a roll call to deny the objection. Ms. Clay?
Aye.
Mr. Kelly?
Aye.
Chair votes aye.
Ma'am, that's it. I know you have a right to appeal everything we did today, okay? You can do that.
Finish that, you have a right to appeal.
Yes. So hopefully we made a good record for you. In the event you want to have a judge take a look at it, and the judge has a different opinion.
Nice to meet you. We gotta get these piled back in. Is that concluded?
We are done, yes.
You're adjourned?
Make a motion to adjourn.
Motion to adjourn, second,
Second.
all in favor?
Aye.
The